Time to show my age. Gather around, boys and girls. You know, I'm old enough to remember when phones were actual briefcases. I didn't have one, but my dad did. And then phones got smaller and smaller. And then we got the Samsung Galaxy Note. Then they got bigger. But then we started to be able to build phones with thinner bezels. So now we have big screen phones, but they're super thin, so they became easier to hold. And now the next wave is here with super thin phones. As always, Apple was not the first to do it, but on a massive scale they were. This is the iPhone Air, and let's compare it to the iPhone 17. Is thinness a feature? I'm Kevin the Tech Ninja. Let's talk about it. So the iPhone Air lives up to its Air name. Every time I put this phone in my hand or I give this phone to a person, they're absolutely shocked on how light and thin it is. And the very next thing they say is how they feel like they'll break the phone on accident. Now, Apple has done the rigorous testing on it. And also I do the bend test to show myself trying to break it. And you can't. I mean, it is absolutely solid. Now, when comparing to the iPhone 17, the 17 actually kind of feels like a chunky phone. It's quite impressive how the Air can really warp your mind into thinking this is what a phone should actually feel like. Now, I did use the Air for a complete week while working on my review for the Air. And once you go back to any other phone, it does start to feel massive. Now, button-wise, both of these phones are, pretty much the same, but material-wise, they are very different. The iPhone 17 uses this aluminum frame, and the Air uses this polished titanium, which helps with the strength and also the weight. The Air has ceramic shield glass on the front and back, and the 17 only has it on the front. Now, this combo for the Air makes it Apple's strongest iPhone ever made. Now, it's funny, I did see a video that Apple produced talking about how strong it was, and it was 130 pounds of pressure applied to like the middle of the iPhone Air, and it did bend a whole bunch, but once they took it off, it sprung back with no bending or no damage, which is really impressive to see. Now on the back, we do have two lenses on the iPhone, and the iPhone Air only has the one lens. Now the Air also has this camera plateau, but this is actually the whole phone's internals. I mean, everything regarding the phone is baked into here, and the rest of this is all battery. Now, one more change is the speakers. The iPhone Air has a single speaker here at the bottom, where the 17 has speaker here at the bottom and also at the top earpiece as well. And it definitely does make a difference. Now in the hand, the iPhone Air is a bit slippery with the titanium rails and the thinness. And I tried not to use it for a case as long as possible, but I ended up throwing a case on it just because it was like just so thin and slippery for me. The iPhone 17 feels more designed to be held. The edges are not slippery as the glass back, and it feels like it has a little bit of grip to it. It just feels better to me in the hand overall. Now, some people are going to feel different. I know I have larger hands, so if you're on the edge between the two, I'd say go and try them out. Design-wise, the iPhone Air wins by default. Now, both phones are using Apple's 120 Hertz ProMotion display. They both have always on display. They both get very bright. The only difference between the two is the size. The 17 has a 6.3 inch display and the Air has a 6.5 inch display. The iPhone Air is also a little bit taller, which makes it harder for some people to reach the top. But for me, I had no issues with that. So for me, when it comes to displays, it has to be a tie. It's really just personal preference at the end of the day. The 17 has an A19 chip. And if you don't care about chips and specs, bear with me. So the A19 is Apple's newest chip, but there are two versions of the chip. Think about it like a regular version and a supercharged version. The Air has the supercharged version of this chip, and this only helps with more advanced tasks and gaming. If you're looking to do hardcore gaming and those crazy advanced tasks on a phone, then those people would be most likely buying the Pro anyways. So let's run a very quick gaming benchmark to see how they both compare using a 20-minute stress test. So when looking at the speed test, what I find very interesting is that the iPhone Air gave me inconsistent results to the whole thing. And that sort of goes back to what I was talking about earlier, is that I don't live through speed tests, I live through actual usage of these devices. In my daily usage, there is no difference between the phones, but the Air does get a bit warmer if you're charging or if you're like on a phone call for a long time and, you know, sort of multitasking. So when we flip these phones over, literally, the camera, there's a difference here, right? We see one camera and then we see two cameras, right? So the iPhone Air does have the single camera and it shares the same 48 megapixel with this camera here, which is the wide camera on the iPhone 17. But then the 17 has an extra camera, which is the 0.5, which is the ultra wide and also macro camera. Now, since the 17 does have two lenses, you can also do spatial video and pictures, which is something that may not be super useful now or maybe ever, but it lets you capture content for AR and VR. Now, since we have the same camera system, showing camera examples wouldn't be a thing I'll do in this video, right? Okay, well, you're here, let's do it. So as expected here in the camera samples, everything you're seeing on the iPhone 17, you are seeing here on the iPhone Air as they share the same camera. But once again, the iPhone 17 has the ultra wide lens, so you get different shots than what you can see on the iPhone Air, but the quality is exactly the same. Front-facing video on both of these cameras. I'm pretty sure both the cameras are the same, but of course, I'm always do the comparison. Let me know down below which one looks better, which one sounds better. But they are both 18 megapixel center stage. I don't think there's anything different. Now, there's a big debate if you rather have ultra wide or if you rather have telephoto 2x. I'm still more of a person that rather have 2x, but it seems like a lot of people rather have ultra wide. Now let's move over to battery life, and honestly, that was my biggest concern about the Air. The phone does have a much smaller battery, nearly 500 milliamp, more than the iPhone 17. And honestly, that 500 does show up, but not as much as I thought it would. Now for me, the 17 is an all-day phone. On a typical day, which usually starts at 7:30 in the morning, I'm off and on my phone a lot from social media, a couple phone calls, playing a light game or two, dozens of text messages. The phone would be around 5 to 10% around 11 p.m. The Air, with the same usage, ended up dying on me around 9 p.m. Still not bad from both phones, but there is a difference. So there are many things similar between both phones, and even some of them are lacking compared to the 17. But why is it $200 more? Well, honestly, you're paying for this design and I think the processor as well. It's the most luxurious or enthusiast choice. It's meant for those who prioritize the feel and look of the device first. If you love the idea of a super slim phone and you're willing to give up a few things for a phone that's meaningfully thinner and light, then the iPhone Air is absolutely a work of art. But those are my opinions. What do you guys think? Sound off down below. Kevin the Tech Ninja.